I'm Allison Marinelli, and today I'm speaking to best-selling author Maria Gamb about how getting what you want as a woman in the business world can be as easy as asking for it. Thank you so much for being here today, Maria.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks, Allison.
So you have 25 years of experience in the fashion industry as a consultant. You're also a writer for Forbes magazine, and you're an author. But what are you specializing in now?
What I'm working on is really developing women in business, and I think it's one of the most exciting aspects of business today because women are sitting on the forefront of really helping the economies recover in whatever country they're working in. So I'm excited to be working with women in business.
Wonderful. So you recently wrote a book, Healing the Corporate World, and I believe you have it there.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So for those who haven't read it, or even for those who have, what is the main idea that you want your readers to take from it?
The main idea is that no matter where you are, no matter what level or layer you are within an organization or in the entrepreneurial world, that you can make profound change. And it really is up to you. It is an invitation to the reader to say, you can't wait for anybody else to change what's going on in business. It's now time for you to take the reins and take hold of it and create business in a different way rather than just complaining about it. That we are powerful, not powerless.
So one of my colleagues is a recent business graduate, actually, and she told me that throughout her entire program, she never had one female CEO come and speak to the class. So what kind of effect do you think that the absence of women in these executive positions has on youth?
I believe that part of the problem with women rising into positions of power is that they don't have mentorship and they're not seeing other women go before them. So it becomes an apple, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, but a woman needs to see just the way we are wired. We need to see an example. We need to see other people doing it, other women doing it, succeeding and sitting in these leadership positions in order to say, I can do it too. She's done it. I can do it too.
Now, you mentioned mentorship as something that could be an obstacle, or lack of mentorship, rather. But what are some of the other barriers stopping women from getting past that glass ceiling in the business world?
A lot of it is actually social conditioning. We can simply say that there are outside forces that determine our success or not, and I'm not here to argue that. What I'm here to talk about is what it is that we can control as women, as people in business. So women, I believe, need to be aware of their social conditioning. Whether they know it or not, our social conditioning is first to put other people's needs first, and second, not to ask for what it is that we want. And these two things contribute to women finding that they're overlooked quite often for positions of leadership or advancement or even just an entrepreneurial opportunity because they don't speak up. They don't speak up and say what they want. They think everybody knows what they want because if they just work hard, they're going to be recognized. But that's the difference between men and women. Men will say, hey, I can do this job even if they're not 100% fit, where a woman will sit back and say, my efforts will be rewarded and people will recognize me because I work so hard. And in an ideal world, they would, but that's not always the case.
So a lot of women struggle with the balance between typically masculine qualities versus feminine qualities and portraying those in their office space. So where do you think this healthy balance lies in the business world?
I think it's understanding that you don't always have to be right and you don't have to always know it all. And that's a misstep that both sexes make often. So sometimes it's best just to sit and be quiet, and it's a cat and mouse game. It's like you have to really be able to weigh the options of where you are and what's going on. Do you state what you believe? Do you give your opinion? Or are you actually giving wise counsel? And that's one of the things that I teach a lot of women. Are you just giving an opinion, which is based on your experience and your fear, potentially your fear, or are you giving wise counsel? And wise counsel has more to do with experience that you've had, results that you've had, that you can speak from a place of knowing.
Now, women in the business world want to be taken seriously. It's a general consensus. And I can respect a woman who upholds an overly feminine image, but I think the problem is that men don't necessarily. So what would you say to that?
I don't think necessarily it's women per se who are overly feminine. If you consider that every human being has both masculine and feminine qualities, there are some men who are more feminine than they are masculine. And that has more to do with the fact that more feminine qualities, and this is not about being a woman, but more feminine qualities are creative qualities. More masculine qualities are more logistical qualities. So it's not about the sexes. Like you and I are probably two women who have a very strong masculine side to us because we're logistic, we're driven, we know where we want to go, we take the steps, we plan it out. But I know I'm a highly creative person. You as a journalist are a highly creative person. And so we have a balance that we make. I think that in business, when a woman shows up in a more feminine, outfit, it is something that people have to discern for themselves, whether it's appropriate or not appropriate. I personally don't think it's a problem. I think a woman should look like a woman, a man should look like a man, and whatever that expression means to them.
Okay. So I've heard stories from friends of mine in the finance sector that they're struggling with the male and female dynamics. So since it's predominantly men, one woman told me that she constantly feels like she's being flirted with, which then discourages her from wanting to work in that area. So this seems like a vicious cycle. What do you think about this?
It is a test of boundaries. That's what's happening. And every person, no matter if they're in business or just in their everyday life, are going to have their boundaries tested. If you look at it as a way to assert your boundaries and say this is not appropriate, and to be able to articulate that in a professional manner without becoming threatening, and just basically stating to the men that it's not appropriate behavior and that it makes them uncomfortable and they would like it to stop. Once you set a boundary, people are actually more likely to respect you and to honor it. But again, if you don't say what you need, no one's going to know. They'll think it's okay.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Maria. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Allison. Have a great day.
Thank you. For more information on Maria Gamb and her book, Healing the Corporate World, visit cadella.com.